My name is Emma, and I've learned that sometimes words slip out of your mouth before you truly understand the weight they carry. That night, I said something I could never take back. Something that changed everything. It wasn't a fight. There was no shouting, no dramatic argument. It was just an ordinary evening, the kind where everything feels like it's slipping through your fingers and you don't know how to stop it. I was sitting at the kitchen table, flipping through an old photo album I had stumbled upon while cleaning. The pictures showed a younger version of me, carefree, smiling, in love with someone else. My husband, Matt, and I had been married for 5 years, but that night, he stood at the counter making coffee, distant as he often seemed lately. The silence between us had been growing, and I felt it more than ever. "Hey, Matt," I called softly, unsure of where my words were heading. "I was just looking through some old photos, from before we met." He glanced over, a faint crease forming on his forehead. I could already tell he wasn't comfortable with where this might be going. Truthfully, neither was I. But the thought slipped out before I could stop it. I was just thinking about my first love, Jake. Sometimes I wonder if I made the right choice. Maybe I should have stayed with him. The words hung in the air, heavy and sharp, cutting through the quiet like a blade. Matt froze, the coffee pot in his hand, unmoving. His face drained of color. "What do you mean by that?" he asked, his voice tight and unreadable. Hurt, anger, confusion, or maybe all three. I regretted it instantly, but it was too late. I hadn't meant it like that. It wasn't really about Jake, not anymore. What I felt was deeper, a hollow emptiness, like I'd lost something I couldn't name. I just wanted to feel alive again, to feel something real. "I don't know, Matt." I tried to brush it off with a weak smile. "I just mean sometimes I wonder if things would have been different with him. If I'd stayed, would my life feel more fulfilling?" I saw his expression twist into pain and disbelief. "Are you seriously telling me this now?" His voice was low, but each word struck me like a hammer. I had cut him to the core. I could see it in his eyes, the sadness, the hurt, and I knew there was no undoing it. "I didn't mean it like that," I stammered, standing from the table. Everything feels off lately. I don't know what's wrong with me." The silence that followed was unbearable. Matt turned his back to me, jaw clenched, the tension in the air suffocating. Finally, he whispered, "Maybe you're right. Maybe you should have stayed with him." His words pierced my chest like a knife. And then it was over. Without another word, he grabbed his keys and coat and walked out the door. I stood frozen, unable to move, unable to call after him. It felt as if I had pushed him away so far that leaving was his only option. Hours dragged on like years. No call, no message, just silence. That night, I lay awake, replaying my words over and over. Maybe I should have stayed with Jake. Why had I said it? Why had I even thought it? The following days blurred into a haze of guilt. I called him, texted him, begged for a response. Nothing. The silence only grew louder. And then it hit me. I had taken my life with Matt for granted. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. He had been my anchor, my stability, the love I had chosen. And I had shattered it all with one careless sentence. In my loneliness, I thought about Jake more than I had in years. But the more I reflected, the clearer it became. Jake belonged to my past. Matt was my future, the one I had chosen for all the right reasons. By the time I realized this truth, it was too late. A week later, a message finally came. "I think it's best if we take some time apart. I need to figure things out. I don't think I can keep doing this." The weight of his words crushed me. The space I had created between us had grown into a canyon, impossible to cross. For months, I tried to reach him, tried to find a way back. But he remained distant. Apologies weren't enough. The trust, the bond, the love we once shared, it was broken. I had lost something precious. Not just Matt, but the very foundation of us. I thought about Jake, about what life might have been if I'd chosen differently. But deep down, I knew the truth. Marrying Matt had been the right choice. He was the man I was meant to spend my life with. And I had nearly destroyed it with one reckless moment of weakness. If you're reading this, I want you to remember, love is fragile. Words, even spoken carelessly, can tear it apart in an instant. Don't wait until it's too late to realize what you have.